That's that's why that that's why we prepared, so we can make these VODs quicker and more informational.
Go live. All right, we're live. I'm gonna go back to your stream. All right. All right, please continue, Travis. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you. All right, so right at the start of this fight, we end up getting chunked with our tank for half their HP.
Mhm.
So why did this happen? Did anybody kind of see? Anybody have any thoughts?
It kind of looks like we're not kind of watching their corner that they're coming in on
Not
altogether.
watching their corner that they're yeah, all together. So that's what I want to get in on. So my camera angle's dog shit. So right here, our queen can be viewed by 4 people on the opposing team, almost 5. Tracer's kind of coming, and their team can be seen by like just our JQ, right? Also Cass. So we're pretty much down 2 to 3 people right now. So the angle selection here is just not great. And that's why we end up getting chunked here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then, us getting that disadvantageous resource exchange at the start of the fight is going to snowball into us losing position, us, further consequences. So I'm going to be fending all of today's VOD, just focusing on how we are setting up for engagements. We're going to start with defense, because that's a bit easier, and then we're going to move into offense to make sure that we don't start off we don't start off our fights on the back foot. So, do I want to do it this way? Yeah, I'll
Oh,
try and do it
also
this
for
way.
record, I wasn't in this scrim, but I usually play Cass, so whenever you're talking to Cass, I might imagine you're talking to me. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah, so nothing here is going to be focused on any individual.
Mhm.
It's all just going to be team stuff. Am I busting out the epic pen? I am busting out the epic pen. It's happening.
Oh yeah, saving lives with the epic pen.
We're getting serious.
Legendary.
Um, so how do we set up a good defense? Like abstractly, what do we
Kill box.
kill box? Ooh, money words. Anything else? Or actually, let's dive into that more. What is a kill box?
An
Like an
area
area.
you wanna fight for.
It's like
Area we want to fight for.
yeah.
But we're on defense. Are we looking to take any space?
No, don't need to.
We can hit them
All
on
right.
first
So
exchange.
how are we fighting
It's like
for
an
it?
area without cover between the covers, where they won't have anywhere to defend themselves, but they have to like come out of choke.
So it's the area that we are going to be engaging the opponents.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
So the
because we're
way
not going to
I
be
think about
engaging
it,
any women here.
damn.
Oh,
What?
Because we play
So the way
Overwatch.
I think about kill boxes is that they are a physical bounding box where when the opponents enter that space, they are going to be getting shot by everybody, right?
Mhm.
That's it. And it's important that we define where these kill boxes are and that everybody is on the same page. Because in this setup, the location that our tracer is able to be a threat to, our Lucio is being a threat to, is not all the same as the way that our Cass and our Queen are set up. And even if we are all on the same page of, hey, we're trying to set up here, we're not set up for it yet. And so just because of that, we need to back off, right? We got to be careful because otherwise we're gonna get chunked here, right? And what's gonna happen right now is you're definitely gonna shout, right? Because you got to compensate for the fact that you got chunked. And there's the shout, but we're not even really getting aggressive with it. We're just using it to back off, right? It's something we're doing to compensate. So, did I back off way too far? I did. So, kill box. Anything else? Besides, everyone can shoot the same place.
It's like an area surrounded by cover, so we all have cover and they don't, you know? I think.
Okay, sorry, I did not clarify my question.
The things about a kill box.
So back to setting up a defense. We want to have a kill box.
Yeah, and we want to
As far as individual positioning goes, what makes a position good for an individual?
it's far enough in proximity from the enemies, but close enough in proximity that you can cover, flank route, but also be able to be helped by your team.
And you don't always
Um,
want to be on top of each other. You kind of want to be a little spaced out so they can't just shoot in one direction.
Oh yeah, and sometimes cover is good as well.
Sometimes.
Yeah, like it's
Dude,
okay to
I-
be like a second
Sometimes
lane
cover.
cover.
I mean, like, there's of course gonna be an exception to almost every single rule. But
Yeah, no,
for the
I
most
just
part,
I
cover
just
is
thought
good.
it was funny. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I heard multiple good things there. Effective range, which is different for different heroes, right? So our queen is probably going to want to be closer than our Cassidy because we want to be in our effective ranges. We basically want to be as far back as possible while still being in our effective ranges. And that is kind of what guides our splits, more so than just a phobia towards positioning with teammates or just a desire to position with teammates. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we have the kill box. Something I push forward that I'm a big advocate for is that after there is an agreement of what space we're going to be contesting, where the kill box is, it is up to the individual to decide what position is good for them. Right? We're going to trust each individual to think about like, hey, what character am I playing? What is my effective range? And then also cover is a big thing.
True.
And then also, can you get helped? Like, am I connected to my team? Like, does my flex board have line of sight of me? And then the final thing is, can you kite? Okay. So effective range, cover, can you kite? And then can you take an isolated kill angle on the kill box where you're not going to get shot by anyone else who's on an angle? Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So we set a kill box. Individuals determine their positioning. So we need PC. No, okay, that was somebody else joining. me.
No, I
That's
so
probably me.
yeah.
All good. I got worried. I'm like, oh, did I crash? Which does happen to me, once in a minute.
Okay.
So let's just do this live. Where do we want to kill box? Right? And say, nobody's even here. Just
Probably that space where they have to, like, they're starting up top, they're gonna have to jump down to the point, and while they're jumping down, that'd be the most predictable.
so you want to kill box this area here?
Yeah, like the open space as they drop down, and then the point, there's no cover.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
Not as much cover, I guess I could still be in the corner. And under.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be shooting down at them.
Yeah, I'd wait for them to jump down, then we'd have like height. Some of us could stay up there in case they have like a shatter.
Most teams with brain cells won't drop easily.
I don't know how you make them drop.
You
Other-
can't
Yeah,
make
good
you,
point.
It's like
you don't
99%,
make you can't
yeah.
I mean, they'll
but
have
you
to
can't
drop to
make
get
them
the
drop.
point if they start top.
I just think up there, like behind that pillar.
Yeah, the pillar
Or just up
works. I
there.
think we could fall back from the
The
pillar.
the
We
pillar
start-
only works for like maybe me and Cass. Like if we're all sat on that pillar, there's no point. I'd say like
I was thinking like they back, so they have to cross the bridge to get you, and then they're in a choke. Cause you kind of just
Well,
fucked.
they're almost running a mirror comp. Like they have higher like higher constant. What's the fucking word?
Brawl, I guess.
Closer
No.
range.
Well,
We're doing
they have better
close
brawl than us either way because they have the fucking venture and we have the chaos. So either way, they have better brawl than us. But like, they're more of a threat to us. Like we can abuse our range a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So I like the idea that, the recognition that we have greater range, and so instead of playing in a super tight space, we want to play for the open space. I think that's great. However, I'm still somewhat hesitant to give up a lot of space. Something that I really, really love doing as much as possible is holding up, trying to provoke an ultimate, because even if we know we're better than them in open space, if our cast can start by playing this angle, this is still quite a lot of space, right? This is multiple
Yeah.
seconds where our cast can be shooting them.
True.
So something I want to push for is where the fight starts, which is what the kill box is, right? It's where the fight starts is not going to be where the fight ends. We don't want to rush ourselves to quickly resolve things. We just want to allow things to develop as they happen. It's not, oh, there's a kill box here, now we all start running at them in a straight line. No, like we just set up in good positions, we let them walk into our angles, and we fight them how it be. And if they push us really aggressively and we can kite because we have space to give, I really like that. I want to set up a forward kill box. And then if they use 3 ultimates to get through choke, great. We can kite that out. You use 1 to stabilize if we can. And then we can play for a second kill box, right? Does that
Yeah.
make sense? We can
Yeah.
use space as a resource and give up space to match their ultimates
Yeah. Question.
rather than... Yeah, go for it.
I also play Widow. Let's say I was putting Widow in this situation. Could I still stand by the cast, like where the cast is? I feel like it's still a good spot. And then I can
Widow,
pick it up.
Widow plus flashpoint equals no, no chance, never,
Never. Okay. Copy
never.
I
that.
mean, so Widow is about as awful as it gets on
I think the
Flashpoint.
first and third
But
points.
I'm perfectly happy to
looks
answer the
fine.
hypothetical, right? Like,
You think the
if the
Tracer probably
opponent...
just jump me and let Lucio frogger me?
I mean, you're gonna have to leave pretty quickly. I think you're gonna have time for 1, maybe 2 shots, right? Like
Yeah.
playing this position, and then you're gonna have to back up.
Mhm.
But, let's say you start playing further back, you still have to leave pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, I'd be
Now you
kind of
have time
exposed back
for
there.
3 shots. And then from here, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna kite to,
Yeah.
right?
Me
Yeah.
Either
me
of these
personally,
positions is...
personally, I would never ever tell our hit scan to go Widow on Flashpoint.
Yeah,
Ever.
that.
there's no point. I've
So
seen it.
it's kind of an irrelevant
Well, good to know then. Good to know. I didn't know. Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Gotta ask. Alright. Never Widow on Flashpoint, bet.
I mean, you can
I
do what you want on
thought-
comp, but
Oh, yeah, I know.
we're focused on organized play here.
Organized. Yeah, I get it. I just gotta ask, Alright, sorry.
All right, thank you. So, kill boxes. Yeah, I think we're good to move on to attacking space. So we struggled a lot with attacking space. I wanna show you guys bird's eye how first fight here went.
Sherman on
Just-
Wrecking
just
Ball,
one
let's
X.
go.
I wouldn't say let's go.
At this point, the fight's pretty much resolved, so stop watching there. So there, we struggled to find an engagement where we could all get in on it. What were the points we struggled with? Like what parts of our setup didn't happen? Or I'll ask it in a more pointed way. Who on our team did not get any activity in this fight?
Cast.
There,
Lucy.
Tracer.
No, Tracer did kind of, but
Tracer
did
got in,
Cass and
right?
Lucio
If we
got?
watch our first pile drive here, who's here for it?
Tracer, that's it.
Oh yeah, Tracer.
Anyone else?
Maybe
Nope.
Lucio, but that's gonna be late.
Nah, Lucio can't.
No, nobody else is here at the present moment, right?
Mhm.
So, what I want to push for is, I steal this term from elsewhere, but I apply it to Overwatch because I like it, is position before submission,
Kinky.
which just means, yeah, I mean, it comes across that way. But you need to set up all of your pieces before you can expect to actually kill anybody. Especially when you're running a Cassidy or any kind of ranked threat, you need to make sure that they are set up before we can expect to find any real value. Because while dive heroes don't need a whole lot of setup, right? Because they get their, like, dive heroes accrue threat through resource advantage. If you think about like a relationship between like a Winston and like a Sojourn, if Sojourn has no slide, she's just fucked, right? There's nothing she can do. Sojourn no slide, dead, right? Just jump her, game over. But the same way that dive heroes accrue threat through resource advantage, poke heroes accrue threat through positional advantage, right? It matters less what resources the enemies have and more of the positions, right? If you have Widow on like some wide uncontested angle, then you know the same way the Sojourn is just fucked. Like everybody's just fucked if the Widow's uncontested on some good angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So here we're running a dive poke hybrid comp, right? Like we have the ball, we have the tracer, like everyone's very fast and they zip around and they can get in and out really quickly. But Cassidy can't do that. He's very slow. And so as much as we need to play for our dive element, and it is primarily a dive composition, we also need to be conscious of our Cassidy. And it is a 5v5 game, and we can't play down.
So what happens here exactly? Does the JQ just land the axe on the cast and start it?
I think it's just shout and then just
So how we ended up on the back foot here, right, is that our Lucio didn't speed our Cassidy out of spawn, right? This is why our Cassidy is so late in comparison.
Yeah.
And then by the time that our Cassidy gets to the door, the Venture and the JQ are already close enough where they can stuff our Cassidy.
Yeah.
Right? This is how we end up on the back foot, is because we're not coming into this fight thinking, hey, we're going to set up our cast on a good angle, and then we're going to go for hits, right? Our go is just getting out of spawn as quickly as possible. We're not playing for our backline. So, to whatever degree we have a stationary backline, proportionally we need to be playing slow. Does that make sense? We need to be setting our backline
Yeah.
before we push.
Yeah.
Nah, I blame myself mostly for when I was on ball. I don't know what it's. I don't like. On ball normally I'm a lot. I'm quite fast, and if I'd realised I had a fucking chaos, I probably should have slowed down. Like I played way too fast.
Okay. I wanna take a look at next fight real quick. Or honestly, we can go to Junkyard. Let's go to this fight.
Yeah, our tank was throwing on ball, reported in void.
Because this fight, it starts going quite well for us. So we know we're better at range, right? We have cast, they have venture. Other than that, it's mirror. But their venture is quite far away. Their JQ is also not stuffing choke. And so our cast gets some range to play. We're pushing them back. We're putting pressure on our front line. Right, Cass, here you start swinging out onto this wider angle, which is really good. something. So I touched earlier on, how dive heroes versus poke heroes accrue threat. That also changes the way that we respond to having an advantage to play for. Like right now, we do a lot more damage because we have rush up, right? And so dive heroes, when they have some advantage to play for, when they have resource advantage, they want to close that distance rapidly. They want to get into their effective range. Because poke heroes have a longer effective range, they're not trying to close that distance. They're not playing aggressively. How they capitalize on those resource advantages is by improving their position, right? It's by taking a new wide angle, and then you just get to hold that angle, right? So what I really like seeing here from the cast is, hey, we have rush. Instead of running them in a straight line, let's swing out onto some angle because we want to get closer towards controlling point, right? As we hold more space, we continue walking up. Things start to go wrong in this fight, not on the side of our Cassidy being stuffed and exploited, but it starts with our backline, right? Our Cassidy, or not our Cassidy,
Here.
our gets caught out here. And let's look at how that happens. Just look at our Kiri.
Oh, Carry does the rush, but then turns around to fight the flanker.
Mm-hmm. So right now,
Good
this
flanker, right?
is we're suffering from a lack of clarity of what we're doing as a team, because it seems like our supports are under the impression that we are going to be turning and clearing out this venture, whereas our front line is under the impression that we are going to be pushing past the venture, ignoring her, and getting aggressive on the core. Right?
Mhm.
This is a break in communication. Everyone on the same page there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So who is in charge of, like, in the fight deciding what we're doing?
Me,
Who makes those calls?
me.
Mm-hmm. And so do we feel like those calls are being made and not being listened to? Do we feel like those calls are not being
Uh,
made? How
I
does
don't
this
want to
happen?
say I don't want to say it in like a mean way, but I think it's common sense. When I say push with Konsune, and then like me and the Tracer put me cast Tracer pushing my backline turns around.
Yeah, they
After
they
we've put
they
Konsune
already
down.
they already started pushing before the venture even like peaked.
But I'm not interested in this specific instance, right? I'm not interested in determining what's the right or the wrong decision here. What I'm interested in is that we split, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we lose this fight, because we split. So I'm not interested in who was right and who was wrong. We would have won this fight regardless of what we chose, as long as we did it together.
Yeah.
So I need
Argo's
one
always wrong
person
anyway.
who calls what to do, and then we do it. Because if there's disagreements, we need to handle that later in VOD. Any disagreements that happen mid-fight just mean we lose a fight.
Preach.
All right? So I do not care about who's right or wrong. I care about who makes the call. Is that call being made? Are people listening? Okay? I asked that before, and that's, the answers I got were not to the questions I had. I'm going to ask again, where's the break happening? Are the calls being made? Because
They
if
were
we think, oh, it's just common sense what we need to do here, that might be a reason the calls aren't being made, right?
they were not being made.
Okay, cool. That's an easy fix. So do we struggle to communicate that type of thing? Or, Sherman, you said it was you, right? You're the shop lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you struggle to open your mouth? Like, is there
No,
some level of
I've had
resistance?
plenty. I've had plenty of experience. I know I'm done.
Okay. So you think you're going to be able to turn this around pretty quickly?
Yeah. We'll see.
Alright.
Maybe fine. Don't worry about it. It's just this first time playing with him. I guess that's what it was. But It won't happen again.
Okay. And just to clear the next bottleneck, Sherman, do you, at this present moment, have faith that when you are making these calls, if your teammates disagree with you, that they're still going to follow through on your comms?
No.
Do you have a strong feeling? Okay, so you don't have like a strong sense that like your team is gonna be there for you, like when you call the
Not,
push.
not really. Like
Push with
again, that comes with like, it just comes with like playing with each other. Like trust isn't something you just get instantly, in my opinion.
Yeah,
like,
he's a trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is his first trial, and you haven't scrimmed with them again yet, right? Yeah,
no,
because it
we'll be
got
going to
canceled.
them
So
with
the
Indonesia.
trust hasn't been built yet. It hasn't. They haven't had a chance yet to build that trust.
I will say whenever I'm tank and I was fight planning, I would have that issue quite a bit.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, so it's a very, this isn't like a weird you guys problem. This is probably the most every team goes through this. Is that as an individual, we can recognize the concept of, doing the wrong thing together is better than, some people doing the wrong thing and some people doing the right
Yeah.
thing. But even
Ew.
like when it comes down to just target priority, which is basically what this is. It's target priority. When you have something that's right in front of you and you know, hey, I'm getting value shooting this thing, and you hear somebody else calling a different target, it's very difficult to like turn around and like spend a second looking for a target when you have no idea where they are and get less value momentarily because somebody else called it, right? You might be more inclined to counter call and say, hey, this thing, trust me, it's this thing. But like right now, if at this moment Kiri and Lucio are hard calling Venture and everyone else is calling Queen, everybody's right. Because here, Cass can't shoot Venture, Queen can't shoot Venture, Tracer can't shoot Venture. At this point, the target calling is kind of too late. So we need to be on the same page earlier. Once these splits happen, it's just GG, go next.
Yeah.
Yep.
And push. So where does the split happen? Or when? I think it's right here. Some people are pushing, some people aren't. Okay, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. Was there anything else I went over that anyone else has any questions on?
No, not really.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
if that's true.
thank you, Trappist. You can
Thank you.
finish what you're gonna say. I have some final thoughts.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I don't need to take more of anyone else's time.
Okay.
Honestly, I went a bit long. It's been like 30 minutes.
So with
Trappist.
what? Thank you, Trappist. That was really insightful. With what we discussed, what are the questions that we need to ask ourselves? What are the things that we need to go into these games with intention of doing?
I think like we should think about like, are we past a point of no return? And then kind of like, do you guys know what maps you're gonna play on before that happens or whatever? I mean, like,
Not
There's a
really.
there's
say,
a
like once we've executed the plan and this is out, then no, then no
it's
turning
scrim to
back.
scrim. Some scrims have a map pool,
Mhm.
but those are like multiple options of each map. So we don't plan out specific maps that we're going to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys
So
have a weekly practice or do you just scrim daily?
we try to get 3 scrims in a week. And now it's been weird. It's been weird because of end of season.
Mhm.
And we also got that Saturday one canceled. But generally we go for 3 a week.
Yeah.
But yeah. So again, what are the questions that we have to ask ourselves to try to answer? What do we need to go and to our games with intention of doing as a team.
I wrote in my notes that we should just follow the plan. Like
Yeah,
basically.
once you have a plan, you gotta execute it.
Okay.
You,
Who's
got,
the
you should probably
who-
like during the scrims get used to making up the plans on the fly, because somebody in
No,
the
but
chat
I've
said W coaching.
But that's what I've got anyway, just some experience. So even it like, because I know I won't get a plan right 100% of the time. Even if it's the most stupid plan imaginable, just do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Just think
in the
like
moment,
that.
in the moment, there's no point trying to argue. 'Cause it just messes shit up.
The tank is never going to be the give the perfect fight plan, right? Every single time. But
Yeah.
the tank is the fight planner. You made the plan. Do it. All 5.
Yeah, because we could work with that. You know, I mean, we could adjust the plan.
So that's one thing. Tank creates fight plan. We all 5 do it. Is there anything else?
We could make plans too. Like if we don't just have to scrim. When I was a kid, I used to play some esports too, and we used to have like nightly, strategy sessions where we talk about stuff we could do, especially if we had like,
Look,
uh,
the thing that won't work most of the time is because of how often things change. Like the
That's
amount,
true.
like when you
A lot
bring
does
into
happen.
account like different characters, how they play the comps, like what positions you want to play, all this stuff like changes depending on what happens in the game.
You can't really make
Yeah.
plans ahead of time before the
Yeah.
even game starts because they're all contextual. What kind of ults do you have? What ults do they have? What comp are you playing? What comp are they playing? So you can't really like, hey, if we play on this map tomorrow, let's do this. So again, our tank is the fight planner. They make the plan. We do it.
Got it.
Bottom line. No arguing either. Now, if sometimes there is like 5 seconds where you can be like, throw out like, what if we do this real quick? But
That's
you
good for the
gotta
vibe.
be careful when you do that because it could end up snowballing. So generally, for now, let's just stick to whatever the tank says. Okay?
Thank you.
And you have to listen. And what I would like for the rest of the team to do is just say check. When you say check, that means
Ready to execute.
everyone is on the same page. All right. Or actually, I take that back. Don't say check. Heard. You say heard. Just like it, like you're in a kitchen. Heard. Because I like using check for something else. So heard. Okay. Anything else that we need to go into the games with intention of?
Setting up our fight.
Okay. What does that mean? How do y'all do that? How will y'all do that?
Look,
Like,
just
You gotta,
let me handle. Just let me handle that stuff. Like,
Okay.
I trust you lot to know like where like if you
LOL,
know you're in a
lot.
bad spot or not. Like you lot should know like where to stand and when not. Like, I trust you lot for that. For like calling shots, kill boxes, target priority, all that shit. Just let me. I'll handle it.
Okay. So that's the plan. Sherman is the 5 planer and in-game leader. So if he calls for a target, you shoot that target. If he calls for a rotation, you make that rotation. If he calls to bust it down, swag style, you bust it down swag style. Yeah. There's another thing I was going to point out. No, I didn't. I don't know why I said, I forgot. Don't remember. So there's target priority, rotations, and like tempo calls, ebb and flow calls, right? So with ebb and flow, sometimes your team has to go second, right? So for an example, we're doing a dive mirror, right? But our not a dive mirror, but like in the Busan map, we had a Ash Tracer, and they had a Tracer Echo, right?
Yeah.
So, and we had the same backline. they have the advantage on the dive. They have a stronger dive, so you can't try to trade backlines. You can't take that risk. You have to deny their dive. So they get to go first, then we go second. So the tank, as an endgame leader as well, has to call for when we are ready. We have the tempo advantage. It's our turn. Let's go. Let's get set. Let's make our rotations in order to engage. And he can also call what angles that we need to make sure we're looking out for or contesting. Our tank could be like, hey Tracer, make sure go with Lucio and take this angle. Or Tracer, go over there and take this angle. Ash, make sure you're setting up over here. Another thing, a lot of the time, the flex support usually calls out, like the flex support needs to tell the team, like, hey, I'm going to be setting up here, and the team generally sets up based off that. But from what it sounds like, Sherman, do you want to make that call where they set?
Like I said, I trust, like, as much as I've got a lot of experience scrim wise, like I don't really touch DPS and support as much, so like I'll trust them to know, like if they think it's a good spot, I'll trust them on that, and I'll just work around that.
Okay. But if he sees something and he's like, okay, I don't usually know, but I do know that this is ass.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah,
points it out,
yeah.
you listen.
Okay, I'll keep it open here, you know.
Trappist, is there anything else that we're forgetting to bring into the games with intention?
No, I think you're good.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that we're going to be playing perfectly and we can scrim 4-5 tier 1.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Time to get paid.
Time to get paid, man.
All right. Again, thank you, Trappist. That was really helpful. If you guys have any questions for me and Trappist, feel free to DM. Well, I'm assuming you wouldn't mind if they message you, Trappist. I don't know. Can't speak for yours.
Probably not.
He does not mind. He does not mind. So thank you guys for being. What's up? Oh,
I
yeah.
just said thanks for the VOD.
Yeah. So what we're going to try to do is prep for VODs, so that we're not like sitting here just winging it, and we can get through them much faster. And we're going to try to find like 2 things that our team needs to think about. Because we don't want to overwhelm you guys with a bunch of things, and then nothing improves. Okie dokie, artichoke, avocado. Y'all have a good day. See y'all around.
You too.
Bye, YouTube,
Thanks,
man.
guys.
See you.